Yo, what is going on, everybody? It's your boy Colton here, and welcome to the 4 a.m. Crew podcast. As always, I'm joined by the boys Dom and Cole, so let's get into the topics. So, diving into the first world of sports, we're going to be going over college football, and I'm going to pass the torch over to Cole.
So, college football just happened this weekend, and kind of as we're heading towards the end of the season, we got some pretty big games that happened. First, we're going to start off with the LSU game. LSU is number one ranked team, but they stumbled in the first half against Arkansas. I don't know if anybody saw that, but second quarter is when they finally started to pull away. But it was about 6-7 at the beginning of or at more towards when they were about to pull away, and they ended up 21-6. So LSU kind of stumbled. How do you guys feel about number one team kind of stumbling against an unranked team?
It's really not that big of a deal. It's what you expect. They've been playing big games all year. They're finally going against a small, not that competitive team. It's just one of those where you walk in, feel like you're gonna win. Oh man, we're not playing our best. Finally, they pick it up, and it's just a slaughter by the end. So I don't really think they have anything to be worried about there.
You don't feel like it has a change on their standing position just because Arkansas is a 2-8 team, you know. And
Did you see the final score of that game? I don't think they really care.
yeah, they did.
Yeah.
The final score was kind of a blowout. Yeah. Just didn't know if the top team should ever have a little like mishap like that, you know.
No, of course you don't want to stumble, but by the end they found their groove, and it just wasn't pretty for Arkansas.
Yeah, definitely. It probably off that Bama game, they probably had a little bit to worry or that they're not really as focused on Arkansas, so they kind of had
Oh,
like a break.
definitely not.
But moving on to the next game, the Ohio State game, Penn State. Who did you guys think was going to win it before that game even happened?
If you want me to be honest with you, I thought Ohio State was going to win big, and they kind of
Yeah.
disappointed me here. They really disappointed me in this game.
Yeah, honestly, they were set up to beat Penn State by 21, and at the beginning first drive, they looked amazing. They ran down the field on their first possession. Then you had Fields who just fumbled at the goal line, which was a huge mishap. And
Yeah,
then
that seemed to be Ohio State's problem that Saturday was turnovers, very sloppy.
yeah, because heading into the halftime, it was 14-0. They come out, they get the kickoff, and then they fumble. Then Penn State capitalizes, and they fumble again. Penn State capitalizes, and they almost just blew the game there for a second.
Yeah, at one point Ohio State looked like they were going to pull away pretty handily, and then out of nowhere, Penn State brings in a backup quarterback, scores 17 points in the third quarter, and it's a one-possession game.
Yeah, let's talk about the backup. Actually, that was kind of unexpected, and he kind of blew away everybody I bet that watched. He brought like a different aspect to that.
I get it though. Penn State's been struggling these last few weeks. James Franklin said, "Hey, we got to change something up."
Well, I don't think Ohio State can really take on a running QB as much because what they haven't really faced a running QB. They mostly faced in the pocket QB. So whenever they have a scramble, it's kind of a different sight for them, which could be something looking forward. They might struggle with.
Luckily for them, the top teams in the country don't have running quarterbacks.
But Clemson does. Clemson might
Trevor
be a team,
Lawrence, he's ran a lot less this year though.
but he does have the chance to, if the pocket gets rushed around him, he can just escape through. So depending on how they get
That's
ranked
true.
in, if right now they face him, that could be a struggle for him. But
All right, can we talk about something though? I know we're gonna be talking about this man later in the show, but can we talk about Chase Young?
Oh,
yeah,
man.
what's up with him?
Dude, he had 3 sacks.
He-
Sacks in his first game back.
Andy, he has the record now at Ohio State for single season
Let's
sacks.
think of that. They still have one more game to play in the regular season, and he missed 2 games earlier, and he has the single sack record.
Yeah, he
for
missed
Ohio.
2 games and somehow has the sack record.
Also leads the NCAA in sacks this year. Just think about that.
He's something different, and even when a team is doubling him, he provides that another one on the line's going to get in there somehow. So when he gets on his own, he's so quick. He's definitely crazy enough for a Heisman contender, but it's something. But let's head on to
It
the next
really
game,
is.
the Georgia and Texas A&M.
That was
Um,
a scare for Georgia.
it really was.
I mean Texas A&M has the old Florida State head coach, so that he's kind of
Jimbo
yeah,
Fisher?
he's starting to relive the Florida State days. You're starting to bring up Texas A&M back
I'll
up.
tell you, A&M in a few years was going to be something, but they're not something yet, which is why Georgia should be scared.
And I think Georgia came in a little misleading to them, but they definitely had a scare for sure.
I get the conditions were bad. It was downpouring, but both teams have to play in that weather. Okay.
And also if you're going to be a high ranked team going against an unranked team, you got to show off a little bit so that the committee doesn't downgrade you and maybe put Bama up above you, and now you're just struggling to get in. Then they have to get that LSU win in order to even get in. So,
I feel like at the end of the year they're gonna have to get an LSU win, obviously, because they're already at one loss. But they need to do something better against Texas A&M to show the committee and prove themselves against other one-loss teams, and they did not do that.
yeah, they definitely need to prove something here soon in the next coming couple of games before this LSU game, because right now it does look like LSU is the top dog in that.
Listen to this: Jake Fromm was 11 for 23 for 163 yards.
Yeah,
That's it.
He hasn't, to be honest, he hasn't really shown much this season. He's kind of just been like a standard QB. He hasn't shined out like Justin Fields or Joe Burrow. He hasn't really give much to it. I mean, he's not really a running QB. He's kind of in the pocket. I mean,
that's exactly what it is. Pocket passer. He's not moving out of that pocket. I feel like in order for Georgia to become the elite team they want to be, Jake Fromm has to become a better than average quarterback.
Definitely. He's even on that day he was missing simple passes and he was just not on his mark. So he definitely needs to step up in some aspect of his throwing game, or he's got to get out of that pocket because he's just sitting in there. But
yeah,
let's move on to the Oregon game. Oregon number 6. They were going to be looked at for the top 4, a possibility if they could have kept out and played Utah. And they go down against unranked Arizona State.
Man, Arizona State's been a killer these last few years, man. I don't know what it is, but they just play in big games, and Oregon just has not shown up these last few years in the big games. Oregon went from having hopes for the college football playoffs to them just being gone and then second.
They just couldn't defend the long pass in that game. There was something.
They couldn't get anything going offensively till the fourth quarter.
Yeah, they waited too late just to get right on path. It's kind of sad, to be honest, because they had a chance to get in the top 4, and now
they really did.
The chance isn't going to happen now.
They ruined it. With the schedule they had, they really had the chance to go with that one loss all the way through, but they choked. And let me tell you something. Justin Herbert has been said to be one of the top prospects for the NFL draft this year, and I did not see it last night. I mean, not Saturday. It didn't look good.
Yeah, he definitely didn't perform until late, and even then it wasn't spectacular. He needs to show us something more, because right now it's just not up to what he can actually do and what we've seen. But
I honestly, I feel like it's a trend in college football this year. A lot of the trending quarterbacks have trended down this year. Only a few have raised their stock. Let me tell you that. Trevor Lawrence last year seemed like the Heisman contender. This year, he's not even in contention. He's just flopping.
He's definitely gone down.
Justin Herbert was expected to go in the draft last year, stays in college, and I feel like his draft stock's continuing to fall.
And what sucks is these guys are seriously thinking about leaving in this year or next year, and it's kind of, if I were them, I'd be a little bit scared, because maybe they're just, I don't know actually what they could be thinking, but it's
just not going the way they would like it to be.
But even with Oregon, they might have messed up for Utah here.
I was just about to bring that up, because Utah, even if they beat Oregon in that Pac-12 title game, now that win looks less impressive.
And they might have just made a big mistake for the Pac-12 to even get in.
Yes.
Which that kind of sucks, because that would have been a great game too. Number 6, number 7 trying to squeeze in. So, all right, let's move on to the next game, the Oklahoma scare against TCU.
Man, I feel like Oklahoma scares have just been pretty regular this last few weeks.
It's been pretty common. They had Baylor, TCU.
Oh man, Baylor.
But also, it does bring the thing is are they still a top tier team with how they keep coming back and how they keep letting up all these points? Where does it put them?
It puts them right in the middle of that top 10, probably around 6, 7. So not middle, more higher, but they're hanging in there. I'll give them that. They're not showing very much, but they're hanging in there. But if they want to be considered here, they have to show out these last 2 games.
I definitely think they need to stop starting off so late, and they need to start stepping on the gas pedal a little bit more early, because they're letting up points, they're giving everybody a scare, and then they're coming back making it look like they're good. But in the committee's eyes, committee's seeing how well they're playing in the first half and the second half. So,
that Baylor game, they didn't do anything in the first half. It just seems like they only pick one half to play, and the other half, they're just like, well, hope it goes well.
And if they do this against a top tier team, they're going to be in trouble.
Like, that comeback against Baylor was impressive. Don't get me wrong, but you can't do that. You're not, if you play a good team, that you're not coming back.
Yeah, Oklahoma has definitely got to step it up. Even with Jalen Hurts being from Alabama, he's still a top tier QB, and he's just not showing up in the first half. I don't know what it could be, but he's definitely got to rival that team up and get them to go in that first half and step on the gas, for sure.
Yeah, he needs this whole team to step it up, because right now I do not think the committee is impressed whatsoever with Oklahoma.
Then we also have Bama, played an unranked team.
Blew
them out,
gosh.
So Bama was safe this weekend.
You can't really judge anything off it. I wish it was a competitive team so I could have seen how their backup quarterback did, but you can't judge, man.
All we could say is that he's got a game under his belt. He's felt comfortable behind center.
Now he's got the biggest game of his career next week.
Hopefully he's got some of his connections down with his wide receivers. He knows what he's got, like the adrenaline all calmed down and everything, and hopefully he can handle them. But if you guys are fine, you guys want to move on to the Heisman Contenders?
Sounds great.
All right, so who do you guys have for your Heisman Contenders? Rank them from 1 to 4, or one to however far down you want to go.
All right, hold up. Let me whip it out here real quick. So, I got Joe Burrow, number 1, winning it all.
Easy pick, yeah.
Then it was really hard to pick this one, but I got Chase Young at 2nd, and then Jalen Hurts at 3rd, and then Justin Fields at 4th.
All right, what do you got now? What do you got for yours?
I've got the same top 2, Joe Burrow and Chase Young. I feel like the only 2 that actually still have a chance. 3 through however many you want to go, could be anybody you want, just line them up, but I don't feel like anybody has a chance besides Joe Burrow and Chase Young. I really feel like Chase Young would be a strong contender if he didn't get suspended those 2 games, so it's really giving an edge to Joe Burrow. I'm hoping that doesn't really affect him too much, because come on, Chase Young has been an animal this year. Like, we can't say he hasn't been. Leads the NCAA in sacks with 16.5. He has 7 forced fumbles, and this is playing 2 games less than everybody else on this list.
And Chase Young has had 2 mentors. The Bosa brothers have both helped him out, kind of changed his career, given him all the tips that he needs. And the Bosa brothers were both insane. I still think if the younger brother Bosa stayed at Ohio State for a year or 2, he'd be at the top of this list and probably one of the Heisman contenders, because they were both insane. Freshman year, he runs out to the NFL after getting hurt. He could have been a possible Heisman, and he tossed all that talent over to Chase Young. So, honestly, if Chase Young doesn't have this 2-game suspension, it's a very, very tight-knit race. Yeah. But
Chase
Joe Burrow
Young is really impressed.
Joe Burrow has been on something else.
Yeah. But yeah, back to Chase. The question was, how is Ohio State's defensive line going to work without the Bosa brothers? And Chase Young was the answer.
Chase Young, he worked in the offseason. We saw that he had some talent, but it was mainly the Bosa that was there showing off, taking the stage. And Chase Young was sitting there just learning as a prospect to him. But now he's shown off that all that Bosa's have taught him and everything that comes with being on the Ohio State D-line. So he's been an outstanding player.
Yeah, with how great that is, though, I just don't see him passing Joe Burrow. His stats are just out of this world.
He's kind of brought. He came from Ohio State as a backup QB. His story is incredible. Coming from Ohio State as a backup QB to bringing LSU out of the dumps, beating Bama for this year after the big loss last year, and now he's brought him to number 1. He's on a race for Heisman, and he's on a race for a national championship.
what he's done with this LSU offense is insane. LSU used to be a run-first offense that could not pass the ball to save their life, and that was their problem. This year, he's fixed that problem. Look what they are at the top. Like, let me just read you some of these stats. He's passed for 4,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, and only 6 interceptions, and he plays in the SEC.
The SEC is the toughest conference right now too. They have two in the top 10, I think, right now, which is pretty tough. I mean, Ohio State just had 2, or not Ohio State. The Big Ten just had 2, and then now they had 3, and now they have 2. So Ohio State was the toughest in the top 10, but now there's LSU and there's Alabama in the top 10. It's kind of crazy how tough the SEC has been.
Oh yeah. Let me put you in comparison to Joe Burrow's numbers. Only one quarterback is higher in passing yards and touchdowns. That's Anthony Gordon from Washington State. But Anthony Gordon has attempted 200 more passes than Joe Burrow.
Oh, and LSU has a great run game. Even there's been talks
really
of their run game bringing them to the national championship alone.
Oh yeah.
So you combine that run game with Joe Burrow's passing game and what he's got in his head. They're looking for a great national title run.
Oh yeah, LSU's looking scary for the first time in forever. But hey.
Also, I have on my list though. I have after Joe Burrow and Chase Young because they're kind of the only 2 that are going to be on that top tier list.
Yeah, but you still got to invite 3 or 4 people to the Heisman presentation.
Yeah, I think it might be 6. I think, but you got Jalen Hurts. You got him moving from Alabama his senior year. And he's kind of risen that Oklahoma team back up. He's carried them on his back, you could probably say.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And that team has stood right behind him, and it's obviously a Heisman contender if the whole team is all around him, bringing the whole organization up like that. But then you also have Georgia has a backup QB. He decides to transfer over to Ohio State, and has brought back what Ohio State was and brought a different feel to Ohio State. Justin Fields. He's an incredible QB. Nobody knew who he was because he was just a backup to Fromm. Arguably, I think Georgia's made the mistake.
Georgia missed the ball there.
Georgia's made the mistake of letting Justin Fields go. And
keeping Jake Fromm over Justin Fields was a mistake. I get it, he's your leader. I get it, he's the guy you want leading your team. But Justin Fields is a way better quarterback than Jake Fromm.
And he definitely won't be going off to the draft this year. Maybe next year he might, and if he doesn't, he's definitely going to go for a Heisman run. He'll be higher up with Chase and Joe Burrow. He'll probably be one of the top QBs like Clemson's QB is. So,
if he didn't have to share so many offensive stats with J.K. Dobbins in the backfield, because obviously they have a great run game with J.K. Dobbins, if they relied more on Justin Fields passing, I feel like he'd be higher up in this Heisman contention.
Oh, definitely. J.K. Dobbins is even, some people have talked, I mean, he just passed up. He's like number 3 on Ohio State's for the run record right now. So he definitely has a lot of assets to him that hurts him in the Heisman running, but it also doesn't hurt Ohio State. So.
Oh, it definitely doesn't hurt Ohio State. It just hurts their Heisman contentions. It's not really that big of a deal, those two, though, because in the end, their big goal is to win a national championship.
And they're well on their way being number 2, but they still have some big contenders in their way. But let's move on to those big contenders in the NCAA top 4. What's our top 4 for the rankings for this week? Colton, you can go ahead and start.
So I got LSU at number 1, Ohio State at number 2, Clemson at number 3, and then I got Bama coming in at 4th.
Okay, you got Bama coming in at number 4. All right. Don, what do you got?
Sir.
I have the exact same thing. I have LSU 1, Ohio State 2, Clemson 3, and Bama at 4.
Now, I have the exact same top 3, but I believe Georgia still needs to be in this number 4 position.
Come on.
Why do you guys think that Bama needs to be in this top 4 situation?
Because Georgia lost South Carolina. That's all I have to say. I don't care about Georgia's quality win, man. Congratulations, you got some wins over Auburn and another couple. You just struggled against Texas A&M, only won by 6, and you lost South Carolina. Bama's only loss is to number 1 LSU. That's all I got to say.
their hardest, like their schedule was like 10 times harder too. So I mean,
I definitely feel like the time of the loss does affect Bama pretty harsh, though. It's a little bit later in the season for Bama to take that hit, and especially with it being a number 1 versus number 2 game scenario.
It shouldn't be that hard. It shouldn't be that bad then if they're number 1. I just don't.
But I do feel like it doesn't really matter
job.
who's in the number 4 position right now, because Georgia could very easily lose this position, or they could easily stay in there, and Alabama could get kicked out of the whole entire conversation if Georgia wins that.
I'll say this: if Alabama beats Auburn next week, there's no reason for them not to be in the top 4 until Georgia either beats LSU.
Which
that's
is never going to happen.
Yeah, like if Bama beats Auburn, who is Georgia's quality win, Bama's top 4.
But if Georgia beats LSU,
obviously you have to put Georgia in because LSU is the number 1 team in the country by far. If Georgia wins, they're a one-loss team. Alabama lost LSU, Georgia beat LSU. It's simple like math there, dude.
Yeah, but then again, Bama would be in either way because they wouldn't put LSU in like number 1 spot if they lost to freaking Georgia.
If they lose to Georgia, you move Ohio State up to 1, Clemson up to 2, Georgia up to 3, and probably
would you argue Georgia number 2? Because who is Clemson faced to bring them to number 2?
I'm sorry. If Clemson's undefeated, I'm not putting Georgia above them, who lost to South Carolina. I don't care. That loss is not.
So if Georgia wins, you guys have Ohio State, Clemson, Georgia?
I don't know.
Yeah, because you have to put Georgia above LSU if they beat them. I feel like you have to put them above them since they beat
them. So then who do you have in at that 4th spot for a Georgia win versus LSU?
LSU.
I believe LSU should too because Alabama has lost to LSU. LSU only has 1 loss then.
Yeah, so, but I would put Bama in there instead of Clemson.
You still take Clemson out even if they win out?
Yeah.
I don't think the committee's going to have
I don't think the committee would like that. Clemson is the undefeated national championship or national team. So you can't really take that team out.
Winning the ACC championship
like you said earlier, who have they really faced?
I mean, you can't penalize them too hard, though. They're still a really good team that won the ACC. And they're undefeated. You can't punish them. You just can't.
And you just can't punish that team. The committee obviously thinks highly of them if they're in the top 4 right now. Definitely not going to get bumped out. I feel like LSU will bump out Bama if Georgia ends up beating them. But if Georgia doesn't end up beating them, then it's a race between Bama and Utah, mainly, I would say.
I just don't see the committee taking Utah over Bama.
Definitely, I don't think it's as highly as a possibility now for Utah to get in with that Oregon loss. We talked about earlier how big that played into a factor.
Yeah, because both teams aren't going in as 1-loss teams now. Oregon is going in a team that lost to Arizona State and Auburn with 2 losses now.
So I definitely have to say, though, that with the mix between the top 4, it definitely matters between the LSU and Georgia ball game.
Without a doubt. The SEC championship is going to be the deciding factor of who gets the 4 seed.
And then, after that, we'll have to see what the committee wants, who they believe would bring in the most cash, because it's probably going to be who they think is going to bring the most hype game, which is probably, I would say, if Alabama makes it from Georgia losing.
Still going to be Bama.
I feel like they might bring Bama in as number 4.
Because who wouldn't want to see that rematch?
LSU Bama in the semifinals, man. Come on. What's better than that? Come on.
And an SEC rivalry in the national title run would be a fantastic game, great marketing. I feel like that would probably happen.
I mean, come on. We watched the Bama-Georgia game a few years ago. That was a great game.
And then you'll have the 2 undefeated teams going after each other. Like, that's what are you gonna say about that?
And 2 of the most popular quarterbacks in the country between Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence.
2 great defenses, 2 great QBs, 2 great offenses. It's probably the best possible outcome for them. It's probably what will most likely happen. But enough with the NCAA. Let's move on to the big dogs of the NFL. Let's recap this. Bears versus Giants. Did you guys end up watching that?
Oh my god!
Yeah,
I have to watch it. We live in Illinois, Cole. They put the Bears on Fox every week, whether you like it or not. All right.
So, how did you guys feel about how overall the game was just not played up to an NFL par? There was missed passes. Trubisky has 2 interceptions. It just did not look like a pretty game to watch.
Yeah.
It's because it wasn't. With the Bears and Giants game, if you came in with high hopes for this, Good luck. I'm getting ready to be very bored on Thanksgiving Day when I have to watch the Bears versus
the
Lions.
That's gonna be the
Jesus.
most boring.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, Trubisky after last year, I thought the Bears were going to be a pretty well-rounded team, and Trubisky's just not lived up to what he's been.
I don't understand the Trubisky hype. He played like one starting year of college football, and he didn't even look impressive that 1 year.
Yeah, I was never really hyped up about him, anyways.
But he throws 2 interceptions in this game, and they still pull out with the win. The Bears, they have so much potential, but they gotta fix their QB situation.
Yeah, but the Bears' answers is they're saying Cam Newton, and let me tell you, Cam Newton's been a below-average quarterback about every year of his career, besides the MVP season.
Yeah,
but he would bring a great asset to the Bears.
What?
He's a running QB. He's a running QB.
He can't run that much anymore. He's getting injured every year.
I feel like if he goes to the Bears, he gives that running aspect. He gives that scare tactic. I feel like the Bears will be a lot better with him.
I don't see it. You can't go from a mediocre quarterback to another average mediocre quarterback.
But
the Bears need a legit quarterback in order to get past that hump.
I do feel like this could also possibly just be a down season for Trubisky, and I feel like he might come back next season with a little bit more of a chip on his shoulder, play a little bit better.
But here's the question. Do they give him another season?
I definitely feel like they give him another season.
Yeah,
I feel like the Bears is that type of team that they'll let him ride out for a couple more years before they decide to do any harsh moves.
Here are Cam Newton's passing stats. MVP season on. Okay, MVP season. 35 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, 3,800 passing yards. After that, 19 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. 22 touchdowns, 16 interceptions. Like, he's just becoming more and more mediocre.
Yeah, he definitely needs some kind of push. Honestly, I feel like Cam Newton needs to get out of there.
That's definitely what it is. He needs to get out of
He needs to go to a different team. Carolina it's just not his team. He needs to find somebody with better overall connection with him, and it's just not his team, I don't think, anymore. It started out great and it looked great, and ever since then he's been downhill.
That's very valid.
But let's move on to the Steelers game. Steelers versus Bengals.
Oh, that was another sloppy one. My gosh.
How about the strip away fumble at the end on the Bengals drive? And they were probably going to score a touchdown. The strip away catches the ball at around the 10, and he just fumbles it away and just leads the game out of their hands.
Tell me something. Are you surprised it's the Bengals? They're 0-11.
Yeah.
They're 0-11.
Thought the Broncos were bad. I mean, damn.
Yeah, they had the final. They were on their drive.
Bengals versus Dolphins game in a few weeks. That's going to be a slobber knocker, man.
Well, speaking of the Dolphins, they went against the Browns, and the Browns clean sweep the Dolphins. Baker Mayfield has been on something else.
Browns are starting to get on a little win streak here, man. They look like they're starting to find something.
I think it's that Mayfield and OBJ connection. I think it's starting to work, and Landry. He's been connecting with Landry and OBJ very well.
Let me tell you, they found a little spark against that gutted-out win versus the Bills, who are a very surprisingly good team this year. I think they're 8-3.
Yeah, the Browns, they have been on a roll, and I think it's because it's going to definitely take some time when you bring in Mayfield as a rookie quarterback, and then this is only his second year, and then you bring in OBJ. You have Landry, who used to be the Dolphin. I mean,
you just got to find some time to mix.
And they're finding that connection, and they're coming to a winning season here.
They're 5-6, but they're no shape or form out of playoff contention because the AFC has been dog shit this year. Okay.
Yes, they have.
Right now. Let me see right now. I'm pretty sure the last wild card spot in the AFC is a 6-5 team, and the Browns are 5-6. It's one game. It's one game difference.
So the Browns can still be a possible.
Oh, they can definitely.
And I feel like if they make it in there, they can definitely make a mark because they have been playing very, very well.
And let me tell you something. That team, the 6th seed right now in the playoffs, the 6-5 Pittsburgh Steelers. The Browns play them next week.
Yeah, but the Steelers have been kind of on a roll. They've been trying
to until they ran into Myles Garrett and Mason Rudolph's helmet.
That's true. I still can't believe that big hole
The game this weekend is gonna be pretty interesting, man.
That's definitely a game to look forward to, and we'll look forward to that Friday on our podcast and talk more about that. But let's bring it on to the Saints and the Panthers.
Wow, the Panthers choked that game.
What a game to watch. Panthers choked a field goal.
They missed a 28-yard field goal.
And allowed the Saints to go and kick a field goal and win it.
Yeah. You give Drew Brees 2 minutes to go down the field. Do you think he's not going to do it?
A 20-yard field goal. How do you miss that?
28-yard field goal. How do you... You're in the NFL, all right? Okay, I get sometimes you miss 40, 45 yards. But 28, that's like less than an extra point.
It's starting to feel like they had a little bit of the Bears in them with that kicking right there, but
Cody Parkey wasn't kicking for him.
Definitely had a little bit of, and definitely played a little bit of a role there, I bet.
But what I feel like you knew after they missed that field goal.
The Saints had all the momentum.
Down. Oh yeah.
Can't give Drew Brees much time on the clock with him on a final drive. He's kind of known for that.
The Panthers had to make that field goal in order to hope for a tie, because let me tell you, there was going to be about 2 minutes left on that clock. Miss or make, and Drew Brees is not going down without a fight.
But what a letdown for the Panthers, man.
That feels like it could really crush their playoff hopes right there. 6 losses in the NFC is huge, because the NFC is deep this year. It is deep.
Yeah, that definitely has. It's gonna hurt them. Playing that tough game, tied 31-31, and then you just miss 20-yard field goal. And I bet that kicker is got to be eating himself, and the whole team has got to have an eye on him.
Losing that game, they are now 3 games back of the 6th seed in the NFC playoffs.
Yeah, that might have put a cap on there.
There's 5 games to go.
Let's go over to the Patriots Cowboys. This game was full of field goals. And that's mainly it.
It was horrible. The Cowboys could not handle the weather, man. They could not.
But the Cowboys are used to playing in a dome down in Texas, so they don't really deal with rain
Jerry
too much.
Needs to open that dome every once in a while and let the weather come in, because it showed.
Because they could only kick field goals, and the Patriots only had 1 touchdown off of a block.
Could they kick field goals, though? Because I saw a lot of missed field goals that game, too.
Yeah, it was all field goals besides the block punt that led to the touchdown in the first quarter.
Oh, my gosh. What is up with the Patriots special teams and block punts, man? I feel like they've done it every game this year.
The Patriots they're a well-rounded team, and they're always on a path to contending every year.
Well, yeah, but they just aren't looking that impressive to me. Yet they're still gutting these wins out somehow each and every week. The Cowboys, though, on the other hand, are really starting to go down the wrong hill. They've been losing a lot of games recently.
Cowboys, yeah, they started off really well, and they've just ran into that midseason patch.
They started off really well playing the Giants, Redskins, and Dolphins. I see it really hard not to start off well against those 3 teams.
That's also very true. But they're in this midseason patch, and they got to step it up if they still want to rise to that.
If they want to win that division, they need to step it up, because the Eagles are sniffing right below them.
It's an easy division for them to win, too, if they just play out the rest of their games smart and with a chip on their shoulder. They'll definitely win that. But let's talk about our final game, the 49ers over the Packers. The 49ers have been on a roll.
Let me tell you something. I did not expect that. I thought it would be a close game, and Green Bay may even pull it out. Because, honestly, even though San Fran has been really good this year, I didn't think they were great. That game against the Seahawks, Jimmy Garoppolo showed me nothing. But this game against Green Bay, I don't know where this came from. But Jimmy G threw 2 touchdowns, 14 for 20, only 6 completions, and the offense looks sound.
This definitely proved that the 49ers are definitely a team to be watching out for.
Oh, the 49ers are the team to beat in the NFC after this game. The Packers looked like they were going to be one of the top teams. The 49ers said, no, you're nowhere near us right now.
49ers are definitely a team to watch out for, but let's
talk about something real quick. The 49ers defense held Aaron Rodgers to 100 passing yards. 100 passing yards.
And that's Aaron Rodgers, the guy who gunslings it down the field no matter what. That's something to talk about right there on the defensive side.
Man, what went from a team being mocked in the preseason to being the top, if not one of the top teams.
Yeah, one of the top teams looking into the playoffs right now. But
I want to see the 49ers versus Patriots game.
Oh, you want to see a great game? Tune in next week for the 49ers versus Ravens, because that's going to be a
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, let's talk. Okay, yeah. Talking about the Ravens, let's talk about this Monday night game. Lamar Jackson.
Man, I was hoping something different would happen, because...
Ravens versus Rams.
Call him the Hutter.
Definitely thought the Rams were going to have to do something. They had to try something.
This was a must-win for the Rams. It was a must-win, because now they're 6-5. Once again, on the outside looking in for the playoffs, and this was a big game at home where they had to prove something. And let me tell you, they did the exact opposite of prove something.
And it was going to be hard for them. They have Lamar Jackson to worry about. Dude has been on an absolute killing spree right now.
At the beginning of the year, I was a Lamar Jackson hater. I did not think he was good, and so far, he shoved my words so far down my throat that I don't even know what to say. This man, they called him the Jackson 5 tonight because he had 5 touchdowns.
This was his Monday night debut, and he just crushed it. As I saw in the post-game interview, all he's worried about is just what's ahead of him, focused on the game that night, and he wants to just keep rolling with it. All he cares about is just worrying about the team. Doesn't really care about himself as much. Cares more about the team.
Not only did he have 5 passing touchdowns, he rushed for 95 yards.
Yeah, in his past 2 games, he's got like a combined 10 touchdowns total, which is crazy.
If you ask me, I think this game pushes him to the top of the MVP list right now.
Oh, for sure.
I didn't want to admit it, but he's pushed himself to the top of the MVP list, man. He's been dominant. The Ravens are looking scary. Watch out.
And he's definitely proven himself from when everybody hated on him to now. He's an exceptional QB. He's worked in the offseason. He's really shown what all this hate can do, and it can change you into a better person. So, for anybody that wants to look at getting better, they can definitely look at that story right there.
Boy, were the Ravens really smart on moving on from Joe Flacco, huh?
Oh, yeah. Jeez.
Oh, my gosh. There you go, John Elway. Have fun with Joe.
Let's not talk about that.
Joe Flacco is definitely towards the end of his career with the Broncos, too.
He's done for the year. He's injured. He's done. Yeah. They shut it down. That was another project that for Elway that went terribly wrong, and for the Ravens, they got something out of nothing. So, yeah. Definitely another loss.
The Broncos are definitely a team that's looking in the NCAA right now for a shiny QB, which there are plenty of shiny QBs.
They've been looking for shiny QBs ever since Manning left, and they've been drafting them, and they have not been getting anything.
Yeah.
But all right, that's enough with the Monday Night Football. Let's move on to your guys' GM portion of it.
Oh, yeah, the GM baseball offseason, that's a great idea. Colton, how about you start it off?
Alrighty, so for GM for the week, I picked my boys, the Chicago White Sox. Now, they're on a trail of 7 losing seasons in a row. So yeah, that's a little rough. But
let's go. Am I right?
Never say that shit again. But for call-ups that I think they need to make this offseason, call up Luis Robert, because that man is a fucking monster. He is a beast, dude. I think I seen him hit a freaking home run, and it literally crushed the light, in center field. He's a monster. So the starting lineup I'm projecting for them is going to be Tim Anderson as shortstop, Yohan Moncada at third base, James McCann at designated hitter, Jose Abreu at first base because they just re-signed him to a 3-year contract.
It's a nice little deal. Right. It's best case scenario for both sides.
Yasmani Grandal at catcher.
Great pickup there. Great pickup.
At number 5.
All-star catcher.
Personally, if I was the GM, which is what this is all about, I would call up Luis Robert, put him at center field, have him hit 6. All right.
I have a question.
What's that?
Can he field the ball?
He is a freaking beast. Watch any of his highlights.
Okay.
Yes, he could. He was the number 1 prospect in all of the Dominican Republic at age 19.
Because I'm not trying to hate or anything. Because I know your left fielder is a great hitter, but he's a terrible fielder. Eloy Jimenez.
Yeah, and that takes me to the next thing. Now, I got Eloy Jimenez at right field because he obviously isn't doing shit at left field, so why not just try to switch him over, see if that helps him, which it probably won't, but we got Adam Engel. He's doing all right. He's not doing bad. He's doing good, I guess you could say. Doing average, and I have him hitting 8th at left field.
Adam Engel's got to show something on the bat. He's a superb fielder, but his bat is. That's the reason why he was sent down last year for
And
a
that's
while.
why I have him down at number 8 in the lineup. So
He's got to find that bat.
This deal about an hour ago really fucked my lineup, and I had Yolmer Sanchez hitting 9th at second base.
Yeah, he's
But I
on
guess the
waivers
White
now,
Sox-
man.
Yeah, I guess the White Sox just said fuck you. So I'm going over
That
some
was that was
potential
a shocker because
for-
Yomer was just won a Gold Glove this year.
Yeah, I'm really kind of mad about that. But
Now, let me pull up some
going-
of his stats because let me see. Okay, so this year he batted 252 batting average. It's not bad. Like
yeah,
really
it's like getting
isn't
on base like every other
average.
at bat.
His OBP 318.
Dude, it's
It's
a
not
monster.
great, but like it's not
Like-
that it. His batting average, his on base and batting wasn't too bad to where I thought he'd be on waivers. Like with his defense was superb. He
All
won
right.
a Gold Glove. You can't say his defense wasn't superb. He won a Gold Glove.
So I'm
Maybe
looking
he
here.
came in the form of RBIs. He only had 43 RBIs. Obviously, he's not a home run hitter with only 2. 20 doubles with his speed. He's a little more speed than usual. I feel like he should have some more doubles there if he's hitting the ball well. But I guess they just weren't. Obviously, the only reason they would get rid of him is because they just feel like his bat in the lineup was not good enough for them.
Yeah, so I'm looking here at some free agent second baseman that I feel they could get, because Yohan Moncada originally was a second baseman, so they could look at this either way. They could look at third baseman or second baseman, but they always have had Yohan Moncada at third base, and I feel like he's comfortable there and he's doing good. So don't change what if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
That's
So-
great.
The first free agent here, who I don't really suspect anybody picking up at all, because he's almost 40, is Ben Zobrist.
I mean, he's a great utility guy, though. I mean, but you need a starter.
But you got
That's
to
the
look at it.
problem.
He's
You
40.
need a starter. Yeah, you can give him a one.
Brian
deal.
Dozier, I would love to have Brian Dozier, and obviously
Brian
he
Dozier
would
would be a
hit.
solid pickup.
Starlin Castro, he's not
That's
terrible.
interesting. His fielding is subpar, but his bat is he has
Could you
got a decent
imagine
bat.
the combo of Tim Anderson and Starlin Castro? Like, just imagine that.
Be
The
all
second
right.
base, shortstop, dude, that would be amazing. Jonathan,
I'm just
Jonathan
not
Shoup-
that impressed by Starlin's defense, but his offense, it's pretty. His offense is good. His defense, like I said, average, nothing special, but nothing too bad to where you shouldn't pick him up.
Jonathan Shoup, he's 28, so I mean, Howie Kendrick,
He's
and
hitting those years where he should do something though, so wouldn't be a
Yeah.
bad pickup. Like there's a lot of great pickups they could have.
Howie Kendrick, he's 36, so he's coming up to like the end of his career, you know, like Wilmer Flores. Now that would be a decent pickup, in my opinion. Brock Holt, another decent
I
pickup.
don't see him as a starter. That's the inner Yankee in me though,
All right,
so
how
don't
about-
listen to me.
How about this one? Now he's a little bit on the older side. He's 34. All right, Abstrubal Cabrera.
Like I said, there's a lot of pickups. Obviously, if you go for those older people, they'll give them like a 2-3 year contract. Don't give them anything too big.
That's about all. Like
From their farm that could come play second base.
Let me look here.
A name I saw a lot on Twitter was Nick Madrigal. Do you know anything about him?
Dude is a stud,
He's
Dude is a
second
freaking
baseman. He's a
stud.
second baseman.
and that is exactly what they need. Now let's talk about something else they need. So they need bullpen. That's
Oh yeah.
their bullpen
Oh
is
yeah.
dog shit. It is horrendous. There's a couple people in there that are okay. That like Nate Jones. All right. But I think they should probably pick up like 4 or 5 bullpen
Yeah.
people. And
There
since
is.
there's not that many people on the market right now, probably trade for like a Greg Kimbrell or something like that. To like not really
Craig
carry
Kimbrell
the
had
team.
off year, so maybe his his stock is down. So this would be a great time to go for him. You get him for less than what you get, and maybe has a better pickup year since he started so late last year. That could have been the reason why he had the down year.
And they need a 4th man in their starting pitching rotation. So their pitching rotation right now is kind of solid, but they're lacking that 4th man. So right now, they're like my starting 4 like projected Like not really projected. This is like actually what it's gonna be.
Oh yeah.
But they got Lucas Giolito, who's a stud.
Great year last year. He one of the biggest. It was the biggest turnaround I've seen in a pitcher in a while.
All right. Then they got Michael Kopech, who is coming back completely healthy after Tommy John.
Can you trust that he's going to be? They're probably in an innings limit on. I would think though. You can't just have him pitch a full season right off of Tommy John.
Yeah, but I think. All right, here. Let me switch that. And he's going to be at number 3. Okay. Then at number 2, we got Ronaldo Lopez, who's a freaking stud. And then there's that 4th guy and hear me out on this. I think they need to trade for Chris Archer.
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Not a good like ace, obviously.
Not a great one last year. I mean, he was not great.
He's been like seen as this ace, and I think he would be a perfect fourth man.
Until he got traded. Once he got traded, I don't know what happened, but he has lost it.
I think he would be a perfect 4th man in the rotation until, hear me out,
until I told you
Rodon
something.
comes back healthy. Because Carlos Rodon is a freaking stud, but he's injured like every 3 weeks or something like that.
So can you trust that?
You can't. That's why they need to pick up a 4th man. Like,
so I have a
fill
question.
That gap, and then maybe put the 4th man that you pick
up.
You
said you don't want an ace. But there has been rumors going around that Zach Wheeler is very high on the White Sox pickup list right now.
Can he outshine Lucas Giolito, though?
Do you need him to, though? Can you have a 1-2 combo like that, like the Astros had with Verlander and Cole?
So say they pick him up. Say he's the ace, so he's number 1. Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez, and then Michael Kopech. Is that not a fantastic
great lineup?
I would love to see that, actually.
I think White Sox fans have been waiting a while for something like this, and they're finally starting to get their hopes up, and let's hope it doesn't go crashing down like last year when they thought they were going to get Machado.
Prediction, and I'm sticking with it until I see otherwise, White Sox are going to have a over 5-game, like, better season than the Cubs. I can
see it. I see the Cubs burning down right now.
Look at this. For having a freaking team when all 9 of your starters were all-stars, they are dog shit.
All 9 all-stars have pretty much been all-stars at some point, and they were terrible this year. They under-exceeded so much. People were saying they thought this was the year the Cubs would get back to the World Series.
Yeah, and they didn't even make it to the playoffs.
Yeah, let alone win their division, let alone make it to the World Series. They didn't make the wild card.
You have to give it to them. They do have the hardest division in
this year. That division was pretty dog shit.
You got the Pirates. They were
Pirates
pretty bad.
The Brewers underperformed. The Cardinals were the team that showed up finally, but then once they got to the playoffs, they were like, "Oh man, our division really wasn't that good." Every other NL team was killing us.
Now the Brewers are going to be even more dog shit because we got our man Yasmani Grandal.
Great pickup.
Rick Hahn, you are a god for picking him up. But what are we going to do? Hear me out. What are we going to do with James McCann? Because we have Jake Berger coming up. We could trade him, and he is a freaking stud as well. And he was our number 1 draft pick.
You could trade McCann, man. Someone's going to need that bat.
Or if you need to, hear me out, trade Jake Berger and get more out of it.
Do you get more out of Berger?
Yeah.
Unproven star?
Yeah. Look at what the Red Sox got from Moncada.
I'll give you that.
Yeah. They got Chris
I'll give you that.
And one of our best.
Yeah. The Red Sox kind of.
But Yohan Moncada did have a 400 batting average season last year, so he's not bad. He's proving himself. So, and then now we got a Menez, Luis Robert coming up pretty soon. It's gonna be an interesting season to watch.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
It's gonna be a nice time in Chicago.
Finally, are you guys finally gonna be happy?
I was gonna be happy last year because last year we started off like I think 10-0 at the start. Like we were going crazy at the start, and then something just happened.
And then they played like the White Sox.
Michael Kopech got hurt. They just had a White Sox season. 7 straight losing seasons. Now 8, I think. So yeah.
Yeah, they kind of got to figure that out. The White Sox fans are getting restless and becoming Cubs fans.
So how about you tell us what you would do as a GM for of the week for your New York Yankees?
The New York Yankees don't have too many problems, obviously. They have
Yeah,
been a great team these last few years. They
solid
just
bullpen.
haven't
Solid.
gotten over that hump of winning the World Series.
Yeah, they
Now,
ever the best thing that they did, in my opinion, was get back Aroldis Chapman. The dumbest thing that they did was get
that trade, I will forever love that trade of trading
the
Chapman for 3 months to get Glaber Torres. Okay,
mhm,
Glaber Torres is the
the
future
stud.
of the MLB. He's 23, man. He
He's a
just turned
stud.
23. He's a two-time All-Star in the 2 years that he's played.
Don't you guys have like a 16-year-old down in your farm that's already like the
Oh
number
yeah,
one?
Jason Dominguez. They're calling
Dude is a
him. What do they call him?
stud.
The Martian, I think his nickname is. Yeah, the Martian. He's already number 2 on our prospect list, getting comparisons to Mike Trout. But anyway,
Now,
let me get
the
back to
dumbest thing that
being
they
a
did
GM.
is get Giancarlo Stanton. I don't care what
No,
anybody
no,
says.
no,
That is
no. The
stupid. They
dumbest
should
thing
not
they
have done
did.
that.
No, if you think that's the dumbest thing you did, the dumbest thing they did was sign Jacoby Ellsbury to a 7-year,
Yeah,
$150
okay,
million
that was pretty
contract
fucking
for
dumb
him
too.
not to play the last 3 years of his contract.
That was pretty fucking dumb too. No, that's
Now,
pretty fucking
Stanton,
stupid.
people have a love-hate relationship with Stanton, but let me tell you,
I love Stanton.
last year you can't really do anything. He was hurt all year. The year before that, he carried the Yankees throughout the season with injuries from Judge and all the big hitters. He was the only hitter getting us through. That was 2 years ago, and once he got to the playoffs. Obviously, he had some little skids. It was his first time in the playoffs. Come on, he played for the Marlins. What do you expect?
Yeah.
But I feel like this year is his do or die year of being a Yankee. I feel like there's so much
Yeah.
pressure on him to exceed and
The
to
only
just succeed and go over the top after last year is that if he doesn't succeed this year, Yankees fans will never accept him.
The only thing you gotta ask is, do they really need him?
Yes.
But what position does that 16-year-old play?
He is an outfielder, but he won't be here for another 3 to 4 years, and who knows what happens by then.
Can you not like? All right, how old is Stanton?
It's probably 30.
Yeah, could you not risk one bat in your lineup? And they have like the second best farm system after the Sox, maybe even the best now since that 16-year-old came up. But can you risk one bat in your lineup for say
But that's the problem. You don't need to
5
risk
or
it yet.
6?
That kid's not coming for another few
Yeah,
years.
but 5 or 6. Yeah, just have just call up the next best outfielder that you got down there, and then get probably 6 or 7 more pitchers or whatever you need from Stanton, who's got what
The
another
problem is
4 or 5 good seasons maybe.
the Yankees want him. We want to win now, and trading him will not help us win now. And we want to win now. We're not worried about the future. The Yankees are tired of losing. They're tired of not winning World Series. This is the first decade they haven't been in the World Series. They want to win now. They want to prove that. And for me, one of my big things here is I feel like they need one more starting pitcher. They need that ace, man.
Yeah,
People, the GM and the owner will say we didn't need it, but we need it. It's showing. You
It's
can't
just
rely on your bullpen
White
all
Sox
series.
situation,
They will get
kinda.
tired. They will get tired. It showed against the Astros. The bullpen got tired. Or the Astros cheated. We don't know yet. We'll get to that later. But, yeah, the
Yes,
bullpen
we
was
will.
wore out by the end, and we need a starter. And that starter is the ace, Garrett Cole. The Yankees need to go after Garrett Cole like
I
he
agree.
is the last pitcher on earth because that man is insane. I don't understand how he lost the Cy Young this year. I thought he was the most impressive pitcher by far in baseball.
I was kind of bad about that, not gonna lie, but who ended up winning that again?
Justin Verlander, obviously great season.
Yeah.
Garrett Cole I felt like was so much better, and it's saying something because Justin Verlander played insane this year too.
Do you think not the only reason, but one of the more driving factors was that Justin Verlander won the Cy Young was because they went to the World Series. Do you think because of that whole
Garrett Cole
situation?
ended up on the Astros.
Yeah, but do you think that because of that whole situation with that, do you think that might strike some controversy into that
And I don't think so. I just feel like Cole and Verlander both pitch on the Astros, both pitched great. Obviously, they both had their games. I felt like Cole was more consistent. After the first few games, Garrett Cole was in a groove from the end of May until the playoffs. He was on like a 20-game win streak. That's unheard of.
I'm not denying that he shouldn't have won, but
yeah, that's really. It's just what I believe. If I'm the Yankees, get the starting pitcher. Cole preferably, but there's also people like Zach Wheeler and Steven Strasburg out there to go after. But Cole is what I'd say. Now what are you gonna say there, bud?
Do you think the White Sox should go after like a Steven Strasburg?
They can try, but I don't see Strasburg leaving the Nationals. I don't see him leaving the Nationals.
They have the money for it. They have the farm system to trade for it if they wanted to.
Well, they could do a sign and trade, obviously, but he's obviously a free agent. But
buy out his contract, they could do. I don't know. They have them. Yeah. They have a lot. I think they have a lot more money than the Nationals do.
But I think the Nationals give him whatever he wants because he just won them in a World Series. So.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
And now one other situation I find the Yankees facing this offseason is Didi Gregorius. What do you do with Didi Gregorius? And no matter how much it's going to hurt me to say this, you let him go. You don't re-sign him. It's Glaber time, man. Glaber is the full-time shortstop now. Get Didi. We loved you while you're here. You came. You took over for Jeter. It was great. Everybody had so low expectations for you and thought you were going to be terrible. And you came in, stepped up in the captain spot, and you did wonderful. That was amazing. Thank you. But it's Glaber time, man. He's 23. He's insane. He's just going to keep getting better. He had 38 home runs this year.
Yeah, dude was a monster.
At shortstop, that's uncalled for. He did get a couple MVP votes. I know that. It was very low, but he was on the list.
Could you imagine if the White Sox got him?
Now, some would say...
Could you
Someone say that would be weird.
Rick Hahn would go down as the greatest GM in history.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's reaching. But
the greatest, dude. In the past 4 years, then he would have gotten Yoel Moncada, Luis Barber, freaking Yasmani Grandal, Michael Kopech, Luis Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez, and freaking Didi Gregorius, dude. They would be. He would go down as one of the greatest freaking GMs of all time.
He's been decent for you guys so far, yeah. I'm going to wrap this up real quick because we still got one more topic to talk about. So I'm just going to finish it as this. Yes, Didi's great, but we have DJ LeMahieu was an absolute machine last year for us. Our MVP by far. He was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
And Gleyber Torres. So Didi just doesn't fit. Now, am I saying Didi is bad? No, Didi had an off-year batting. That's it. He had off-year off of Tommy John. Not much you can say. It's unfortunate because the year before that he had a breakout year. But it's just time to move on. And it's not like he doesn't have interest because he already had interest from the Reds. And his former manager, Joe Girardi at the Phillies, has been in talks with him. So Didi still has a great career to come, but it's time for the Yankees to move on. And with that, it's time for us to move on from this subject to the next, which is the big Astros cheating scandal.
Oh. Yeah, so former pitcher Mike Freeze, I think is how you say his name?
It's Fears.
Fears. Yeah, so he came out, he talked about it,
It's kind of a shock. So the whole thing kind of was a shock to us three. I know that. I mean,
okay, can we just go ahead and admit there is no fucking way that Jose Altuve, great hitter, okay, but there's no fucking way he had that great plate discipline.
Okay, let me tell you guys.
Short ass had no. There's no fucking way.
I have some stats that are gonna blow your mind from the 2017 postseason.
All right, let's
you ready for this? Altuve at home batted .472, 17 hits, 6 home runs, 12 RBIs, .513 on base percentage. Insane.
There's no way.
He batted .143, 229 slugging with 5 hits, 1 home run, 2 RBIs. That's just the first one. Carlos Correa batted .371 at home, batted .211 on the road. Had 13 hits, 3 home runs, only 8 hits, 2 home runs. His slugging was .743 home, .395 away. Here we keep going. Alex Bregman, 273 batting average at home, 154 batting average on the road, 515 slugging, 9 hits, 333 slugging, 6 hits. This is the best one, man. Brian McCann batted 300 at home. Away, he batted 37.
Oh my!
37.
Dude, I
9
always
hits at
had
home,
like a hunch.
1 hit on the road.
I always had a hunch about Jose fucking Altuve, dude. There's no way his little fucking ass. He's like as tall as me. I'm probably taller than the man, and I'm short as fuck.
It's insane.
There is no way he has that great fucking plate discipline. There's no way. Unless his coaches are going like, hey, there's gonna be a ball, eh? And he's like, all right, bet. Pop, dude. There's no fucking way, man. There's no way.
Yeah, there's definitely no way that this scandal. It has to be true. As you've seen what Don just said in the World Series, in the playoffs, like the facts are there, right there. I mean, they obviously had to have done something.
Dude, I always had a hunch about fucking Altuve.
Unfortunately for the Astros,
didn't like him.
It seems to be that the world has caught on to what they've been doing, and they are now caught red-handed.
I never hated him, but now I do. But I never liked Altuve.
Oh, I've always hated the Astros.
I
The
never liked
cockiness they
Altuve.
brought with them every single game, especially in the postseason, just feeling that they were better than everybody no matter what. I was always pissed off watching the way and the attitude they played with. But after finding this out, I was even more mad. Like the way they got on base is just.
But it's crazy to think that without fears, nobody would have known about this.
Well, I don't know about that because they're more than just fears. That many teams felt the Astros were doing this, but could not figure out ways to show and prove it. But now that people have come out and talked, and people are looking at video, they're finding all of this evidence that the team suspected. Like the Yankees in the ALDS or CS complained of the Astros giving signals of signs by whistling, and no one said they had enough evidence against it. If you go back and watch that series, there are so many videos now showing like the whistles and them taking certain pitches because they knew what was coming.
Dude, all I'm gonna say is, now I have a reason to absolutely fucking despise Jose Altuve. I never liked him. I never hated him, but now I do. But I never, dude. There is no fucking way. If you look at like him, like he's like my height, dude. He's short. He is short as fuck. He's like 5'7". Like he's short, dude. Dude, like there's no way that he has that great plate discipline. There's like no way. Like
none of them.
I mean,
It's
Carlos
not- it's just the whole
Correa,
team.
I could see it. And like if you like what you just said, if you look at their road and home like
Wrong road
differences,
splits.
like
It's insane.
it's crazy, especially Altuve, dude. There is no way. There's no way. Like I don't know how else to fucking put it. There's no way. He's not that good. Like he's a great player, don't fucking get me wrong, but he is not that good, okay? There's no fucking way.
And like
it would be that
there's people
way.
coming out talking about like from the White Sox, Danny Farquhar. He talks about how they would always see whenever they would call for an off speed pitch, that they would see banging on the trash can every time it was an off speed pitch. So
Yeah,
they
You hear it. That's the main thing against the Astros right now.
and it's
They're said
every
to
time
have-
there was an off speed
Yes.
pitch. So
and they're said to have cameras in center field focused on the catcher. And once the catcher gets the signs, the camera picks it up and puts it on the TV in between the clubhouse and the dugout, where someone is sitting there watching the signs. And once they decipher the sign and figure out what a curveball sign is, if a curveball is coming, they bang on a trash can that's loud enough to be heard in the batter's box to where they know a curveball is coming.
All right, I'm gonna ask the question of the hour in 30 minutes that we've been here. Like the question of the hour, all right?
There's one more
there-
thing before you ask that question. Hold on,
Okay,
hold on.
okay.
Now, people might think a trash can. You really think that's true? There is pictures and video of this setup in between the dugouts all over Twitter and even on the Astros documentary of their World Series win with the trash can sitting there. And people are like, there's no TV. They took that TV down as soon as the game was over, every single game. But unfortunately for them, sometimes they weren't fast enough, and they found pictures of it, my boys.
All right. So, question of the hour: should their GM be permabanned from MLB?
I don't see any permaban happening. I see suspensions, I see fines, and I see taking of draft picks.
I don't think though. Yeah,
I
definitely
see
am on the same
permaban,
page with that.
And I see jail.
They can't put him in jail for that.
They can press charges for him. Yes, they can. They can press charges on his ass for doing that. And obviously he's the one that fucking orchestrated it. They could press charges on him.
It's mainly going to depend on how much he knew and what was going on as far, but I don't see him going to jail for it though. I do definitely see him.
No, he's not going to jail, but he does.
He
gets
the GM,
in big
the
trouble.
manager.
I don't think he gets permanent.
The manager gets suspended for.
That's what I meant.
I would hope for at least half of this season. I hope he gets suspended at least half the season.
I just want him to get
because cheating your way to a World Series.
Once a cheater, always a cheater, bro. There's no way. He needs to get banned. Like, I don't care.
I get sign stealing as part of the game, but it's part of the game when you're doing it from second base as a player to player, not from a camera.
Yeah, it's clearly in the rules that you can only do it from player to player, and everybody's done it from junior high ball all the way to the MLB. Everybody's always on second, looking at what the catcher's trying to do. But when you bring it to the extent of cameras and when you do it center
illegally,
field,
that is it's against the rules to use electronics and any kind of cameras to do it.
And
they've been doing it for years, and they've been winning games and winning World Series because of it, and that's just not okay. Cheating your way to the biggest championship in baseball is not okay, and it deserves hard consequences.
All right, so speaking that they've been doing this for years, how do you guys feel about some of these guys that were involved in the scandal and are now no longer on the team and probably won't get affected?
Bullshit.
It probably won't get affected because they're no longer on the team.
It's bullshit. I don't like it.
I think the MLB has come out and said if you speak up as a player, if you were to get a penalty, it'd be way less than what you'd get if you do not speak up now.
So, like, for example, Alex Cora, he was the bench coach at the time, and now he's on the Red Sox. How do you guys, like, you can't punish the Red Sox.
How do you think about this? The Red Sox and the Astros have been going at it in the playoffs in recent years. He's got to know that they're doing the same thing against his team. But he didn't come out because he is scared of what will happen, because they will find out that he was there and knew about it.
So what do you feel like is probably going to happen to these guys that are no longer on the team?
I don't think they do much.
Do you think they fine him at best?
They have to find proof that he was really very, very involved, and if they don't have proof, then they have nothing against them.
Colton, what were you saying? They're going to do what?
Probably like a 1 month suspension.
Okay, on the suspension part, do you think that the suspension is the smart way, because then you're not hurting the Astros, you're hurting the Red Sox? Because Alex Cora, he's on the Red Sox now, so you think that you should be hurting the Red Sox?
That's true.
It's a big iffy point, which kind of sucks because he gets like scot-free besides probably a fine. That's about it. Which I feel like that's
all I know is AJ Hinch, for the manager of the Astros, needs to be suspended at least 2 months.
He's gonna see. He's definitely gonna see some fines, some suspension, and he's definitely gonna be hated from plenty of people.
Made an example of.
Oh yes,
dude. Now that I think about it, that 2017 season was when the Yankees lost to the Astros in the ALCS 4-3. They lost all 4 away games. All 4 away games.
Wonder why.
I definitely don't think there's any way the Astros are getting out of this.
Let's replay it. Get the 2017 Yankees versus the 2017 Dodgers, and we're playing for the World Series championship tomorrow.
Definitely don't see any way of the Astros getting scot-free here. There's definitely going to be some big fines.
I don't see them stripping the title, unfortunately. I wish they would, but you can't really do that. It's just they still had to play. They still had to hit it. They still had to play on the road, but...
I was talking to Colton about that.
On the road.
You still have to perform in the spot, even if you know it's coming. You still have to perform.
Yeah, it's still an MLB pitch coming at you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a lot harder to hit when you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, you don't know when the ball's gonna break, but you do know what it is. I mean, but there's still
It
the
seems
talent
like
there.
Altuve knew when it was gonna break.
There's still the talent there.
There's no fucking way he was that good, man. There's no way he was that good.
Wow.
He would be like a Yolmer Sanchez at
This is
best.
just crazy, and I don't think anybody can predict what's going to happen until it happens.
Could we all agree that if none of this shit happened, Jose Altuve would be like a Yolmer Sanchez at best?
No.
man is
Jose
not-
Altuve is better than Yolmer Sanchez by a mile. His batting is still great, but it would not be nearly as great as it was. Let me tell you something, though. Now that you brought that up, you just made me really mad because you remind me of something, okay?
All right.
You reminded me of the Jose Altuve versus Aaron Judge debate in the MVP race.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
God.
not only were Jose Altuve's stats a little padded because of that cheating, but even that, let me tell you something. Aaron Judge's stats were still 20 times better that year.
Eh?
Okay, I
always
hope.
thought he should have won.
Give me a. I'm trying to find it. I'm trying to find the picture that. Okay, here it is. Let's get into this, shall we? Okay, batting average. Okay, let's talk about this. Batting average. Who do you think's batting average is better? This one's pretty obvious.
Judge.
No, it's
Oh,
Altuve.
no, Altuve.
So
Yeah,
1-0 Altuve. On base percentage, whose is better?
Altuve.
Judge.
Right.
Nope, Judge. Slugging percentage, whose is better?
Judge.
OPS, whose is better?
Judge.
Yes. Wins above replacement, who's better?
Judge, obviously.
Who had more hits? This is obviously because the Judge is a power hitter, so he's not going to get more hits.
Yeah.
That one goes to Altuve. So what does Altuve have? 2 to what? Judge is 6. Is Judge 6 right now? More home runs.
Judge.
More extra base hits.
Altuve.
Nope, Judge. More walks.
And Altuve, obviously.
Judge. More RBIs.
Judge.
More runs.
Judge.
How does Jose Altuve win the MVP?
I always thought that Judge should have won it.
Jose Altuve won like 3 categories, dude. I know this is off on a tangent, but you just reminded me of it, and I'm going to say it again like I have every single time. Aaron Judge is the 2017 American League MVP. You will never change my mind.
Do you think they
I
would,
always thought he
because
should
of this scandal? Do you think they would ever mess with anything that's happened like this? Do you think they'd ever strip
Nah,
anything?
they won't. They're not going to do anything like
Judge is
that.
lazy.
It's too late. It's way too late.
Yeah.
All
All right.
I think that's
that
gonna
about-
wrap it up here.
Yeah.
You wanna head us out, Colton?
Well, hold on. When can they come and find our next podcast, boys?
So
Motto.
the next podcast
Alright.
will probably be either tomorrow or the day after that. So this is probably gonna go up Tuesday. So either Wednesday or Thursday will be the next one. If we get a podcast up Wednesday, then we will have Friday. We will have a podcast up also. Wednesday, we're probably going to be talking about just what's been going on around the world or in our general lives. And this was mainly about the sports aspect of the world. And then Friday, we will probably be heading into, what was it again?
It's gaming, but should we do our gaming then, or should we do another sports and get back on our schedule? Because we do want to start doing sports on Fridays in order to get this weekend thing in front of us.
We might just hit 3 straight days in a row where we just
We
hit
have
a
to.
gaming in the middle. And so probably Wednesday, this will probably come up Tuesday because we're recording Monday night. Tuesday, we'll probably put this up. Wednesday, we'll have our around the world, what's going on, what's happening in our lives. Thursday will probably be gaming, and then Friday we'll probably bring it with the sports predictions and everything
And
going
then
on.
that way we will be on our schedule that we want it to be.
Wouldn't the Wednesday one be what we are? And how
what's
we
happening
even
Wednesday.
fucking-
What's
Yeah,
happening
Wednesday
man?
will be like the origin of how our name, everything that's been happening, how this podcast came to be. But I think that's gonna wrap up. You guys know what the schedule will probably be like for this week. It's been
sir.
Cole, Dom, and Colton, and we'll see you guys in the next podcast tomorrow.
Yes, sir. That's a wrap, boy.